Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 11. What was it, Dead or Alive, and we learn at the end of the episode, some shit in between. Either way, the way I'm going to organize this episode for the review's sake so that it's easier to deal with, I'm going to first talk about the Hilltop / Alexandria stuff. That was very good. And then I'm going to get to the really, really good stuff. There was the Gabriel and Savior stuff. Now, I thought this whole episode was good. It was just as good as last week, if organized a little differently, obviously. I think it was just as good as last week to me. Just as good. But it didn't have as many nitpick kind of deals. It didn't have as many things that I could break down and say, okay, that's kind of small and insignificant, but I didn't like it. Didn't really do so much with that. But either way, let's get to talking about it. So starting off with the Hilltop Alexandria stuff, we start off the entire episode with the Savior Patrol after Harlan, Carson, and Gabriel, and that is how Daryl finds out about all that. Tara, from the beginning, being very overtly sketchy, trying to kill Dwight, essentially, says right in front of him, pretty much, she wants to kill him. Dwight directs them to a swamp that the Saviors avoid that maybe they could use. Over at the Hilltop, Henry's having it kind of rough, wants to know who killed his brother and all that, and Morgan is struggling a bit too because he's thinking about telling him. But one thing I like about this is that Carol is kind of calm here. Carol has developed really well to where she's the voice of reason here. She isn't the one running off, having trouble with killing and all that. Now she's the one like, okay, we kill when we have to. When we don't have to, we don't. But you're taking it a little far. You're going a little bit too far with the killing there, Morgan. So I like that. Also, where is Ezekiel? No idea. I think they mentioned him at one point, so he's around there somewhere. But it was weird that he didn't show up in the episode at all. Then Daryl decides, yeah, we'll go the swamp route, like what Dwight said. Dwight discusses Sherry while they're walking there, saying, I did everything for her, and now she's gone. Who knows where she could be? She could be in the swamp for all we know. And pretty much saying that now that Sherry's gone, I have no reason to want to do anything except destroy the Saviors because they took all that away from me. Is kind of where that discussion headed. But he and Tara stay back with the rest of the group. He isn't allowed to go help clear out the walkers in the swamp, and Tara volunteers to stay back with him for kind of obvious reasons. Cutting back over to the Hilltop, Gregory and Alden, who is the one Savior kid, they both ask Maggie for better treatment for the prisoners, but Maggie's like, we're struggling with supplies as it is, we're cutting your supplies, because I gotta have my people come first and all that. Then we cut back to the Alexandria group. Daryl, Rosita, Sadiq, and Scott, and I believe some few other background characters, start clearing out the walkers. Tara lures Dwight out away from the group by being like, we need to take out these walkers. You come help me. You volunteered. And she was legitimately planning to kill him. She was seriously going to do it. Tara's been she was my favorite character for a bit. This kind of bugs me because Dwight's one of my favorite characters. He's my favorite from the comics. So this bugs me a little. But I think it all worked out in the end. So all's well that ends well, maybe. But he saves their bacon from a Savior patrol that was going to find them. But he leads them away saying, nah, I just came from the swamp. No Alexandrians there. Let's go. And we know that from what they say, Laura's still missing in action out there somewhere. So we have no idea how she's going to come back into this. Daryl flips out on Tara, and I liked seeing, instead of just the silent, brooding Daryl, I liked seeing the pissed off, yelling Daryl. We haven't seen that in a while. So he flips out. Tara kind of covers for Dwight, saying, he saved us. But that's also kind of covering for herself because she was getting chewed out. So it's kind of self-preservation as well. We have Carl's death revealed to the people at the Hilltop. Very underwhelming. This would probably be my only real negative. I wish they'd used audio. I wished we'd got to hear them tell the characters what happened. We got to see the characters' reactions. Just having no sound and Enid fall to her knees covering her face. It was very super duper underwhelming. Mega underwhelming. I didn't like the way they handled that. I can say it. That's the one thing I didn't like. So then Morgan lies to Henry about him killing Gavin, saying, Gavin's the one that killed your brother. Maggie meets Sadiq for the first time, which leads to a nice scene where she's like, you know what? Look at all this. We've got so much going for us. We have to do this. So she starts allowing some freedom to the prisoners. 2 of them can come out every hour, I think they said, for medical attention, exercise, work, whatever. Or maybe it's every few hours. I don't know how it works. But they come out a pair at a time. And then at the very end, we hear people saying that Rick has arrived. So that should tell us that unless Rick is... It depends on how this timeline is going, but we know that Rick is chasing Negan around next episode from the promo. So either that happened before this and we know that Rick's going to survive that, or this happens before he leaves again to go do that. Either way, we'll talk about the promo for next episode when we get to the end, because that's something I'll want to talk about. But either way, let's talk about the Gabriel and Savior stuff, the really, really main backbone story of the episode, I guess. So Harlan, Carson, Gabriel, they're lost. Gabriel is losing his eyesight because of the infection, which is not good at all. We get some hints at the beginning with this walker that's dragging this bear trap around on its ankle. Negan questions Eugene and gives him an outpost because he's like, Eugene, do you care? Do you really care about what happened at Alexandria? But then he gives him an outpost because he needs him to make bullets for him regardless. And he says to Eugene, it's clear that he doesn't trust Eugene, but at least what he says to him to his face is that he thinks that Carson just did this all of his own volition and figured it out on his own. But either way, we see that the place that Harlan and Gabriel find is a radio station, and the operator was kind of a failure. They tried to OD with antibiotics. I don't believe I've ever heard of that. But either way, because of the antibiotics, they're able to break Gabriel's fever, but he could have permanent vision loss. We'll see how that goes. And even at the end of this episode, I don't know if it'll be permanent. We'll see how that goes. They also luck out, find keys and a map. Carson steps in a trap but gets saved by Godshot Gabriel. And then their luck finally runs out, getting captured, and then Carson getting killed. And Gabriel is absolutely devastated because he thought he found his place getting this doctor to Maggie so that she could have her baby, and then he winds up in worse condition than before. Now he is captured, he is kind of blindish, and the doctor's dead. Just totally dead. So I like that, and I like Carson's journey throughout the episode where he starts out kind of like, come on, we need to be serious about this, you don't think God's really guiding us. And then all of these lucky happenstances happen, and he starts to believe it more and more. Like, he gets too confident with it, I guess. And then that luck runs out because they got too confident with it. So that's how it goes. I like that it was really an episode of building Gabriel up and then knocking him down even lower than he could have been. And again, I think that bringing him down low is to just have him rise up again. Gabriel's a character that I really, really like because of the highs and lows he's been through. Eugene is, when we see him again, he seems distraught at his new position. I think it was the actor said on The Talking Dead in some interview or something that Eugene is pissed off that he's having to make bullets to kill people, but you can see that in the way that it's portrayed, that he seems like he doesn't like what he's out here doing right now. He's doing it because he feels like it's self-preservation, but you can tell he doesn't like it. Negan brings in Gabriel. Gabriel ain't no snitch. He didn't give up Eugene. Eugene gives Negan an idea from a crappy idea, and we see Gabriel at his low. Eugene just saying, shut up and, like, basically, you found your place, shut up and sort. We see him at that low. He's lost what he thought his purpose was. He's lost vision. He's captured. Now he's sitting here sorting bullets. But another thing this does for Eugene is he gets to see the result of when he goes against Negan. He's been going with Negan even though he thinks it's the wrong thing to do. He's been doing it. And look at all it's given him. It's given him all this power, all this safety. He could probably have wives if he wanted to. But he's been given all this stuff by doing things that he thinks are wrong, but then he does something that he thinks is right, and it backfires so badly. Like, it doesn't work out, Doctor gets killed, and Gabriel is captured in even worse condition, and B, it could have been way worse even. He could have been completely, if Gabriel would have sold him out, he could have been killed. So doing something good that he thought was right has now, right before his eyes, showed him that that's not what he should do. So it's kind of easy to see how Eugene falls into this place that he's at when every time he does something bad, it works out really well for him, but every time he does something good, it never works out well. Negan gives an okay speech at the end, could have been better. There's this one speech from the comics that I'm hoping this wasn't an adaptation of, because I really hope we still see it. Won't spoil anything from it, because I do hope we get to see it at some point, and we might, I don't know. But he demonstrates these Walker poisoned weapons, and that's the idea he got from A, what Eugene said, and B, seeing how sick Gabriel got. So they now have Walker poisoned weapons. Dwight is back with them. Episode as a whole, I love Gabriel's story of hope and despair. I already kind of went over that. And how even that led Negan to using biological warfare. I thought the stuff with Alexandria and the Hilltop was good. I'll go ahead and say my score, 8.75 swamps out of 10. I couldn't really find a reason to give it a 9. That's kind of a high score, but I didn't want to score it lower than last week either. So I'll give it 8.75 again. Next episode could be majorly hit or miss. When I first saw, oh crap, the Saviors are going to attack the Hilltop, this is going to be some good stuff, this is going to be exciting, I was really, really hyped up. But then we see that Rick is in this car chase with Negan, and it seems so very cheesy. So very, very cheesy Hollywood B-movie type stuff. It could end up being good, so I'm going to reserve judgment. But, oh boy, just a random car chase in the middle of all this does not seem at all like something I'm interested in right now. So, especially when car chase, Negan could just stand on, like, hit his brakes and be like, okay, so I'm surrounded by saviors to protect me. So, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes next week. But either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Walking Dead, both comics and TV show, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. If you want a link to our Discord server, just ask and I can give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.